Welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games, where we feed our people with relatable content and our victory condition is your satisfaction. I'm Harry, and today we continue our People's Choice Top 100 board games of all time, breaking into the top 20. Today we're covering games number 20 through 11. I've surveyed over 3,100 board game designers, publishers, reviewers, content creators, and influencers, and these are the results we came up with. So without any further ado, let's go straight to the list. The People's Choice number 20 board game of all time is Splendor. Yes, the very popular, almost mass market style gateway game where players take on the role of Renaissance merchants trying to buy gem mines, shops, and means of transportation, all in the efforts to gain victory points. The first player to 15 victory points wins the games. Players are collecting sets of chips and buying cards along the way, all in order to accomplish their objectives. When a player decides to take chips, they can either take one of each of the three different types of chips, or they can choose to take two of one type of chip. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 170 on BGG's rankings, so within the People's Choice demographic, it's definitely ranked much higher. Also, I would like to note that the game that Splendor is quite often compared to, the Century series, in particular Century Spice Road, was ranked significantly lower on the People's Choice list, albeit it did make the top 100. I'd like to take this time out to highlight the names here on the screen. These people have all chosen Splendor as their favorite board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 20. The People's Choice number 19 board game of all time is Spirit Island. This is a fantasy-themed cooperative game where players each take on the role of different spirits of the island who safeguard and protect this island from different invaders who are trying to colonize it and make it their home. Each spirit has unique abilities, and players are trying to play a particular combination of power cards that matches a spirit's elemental criteria in order to enhance and trigger additional bonus effects throughout the game. If players are able to destroy all the settlements or frighten the settlers away, then eventually they will win the game. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 12 on BGG's rankings, so the difference is not too great. I'd like to take a moment to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people all think that Spirit Island is the absolute best game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 19. The People's Choice number 18 board game of all time is Dominion, the grandfather of the deck building genre that's taken the board game hobby by storm. This game, designed by Donald X. Vaccarino over 10 years ago, is the pioneer that has flagshipped this very popular mechanism. Players start the game with a basic weak deck, and as the game progresses, they're drafting or purchasing cards to add it to their deck and strengthen it. In this game in particular, there is a Renaissance or medieval type theme, although it's just a bunch of pictures on the card. But mechanically speaking, it's a very sound game where players are trying to have the right balance of treasure and action cards in their deck in order to be able to obtain the most victory cards. However, be careful because those victory cards are duds and will clog up your deck. So if you get too many of them early on, long term, it might not be to your advantage. This game has tons of expansion content out there. There are so much different combinations and permutations. The setup variability is infinite. You can have as much different ways of playing this game as you would like. You can mix and match boxes to your heart's content, with each expansion adding a little bit of a twist and wrinkle to the core game mechanisms. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 99 on BGG's rankings. So on that list, it just barely squeaked into the top 100. On this list, it's in the top 20. I'd like to take this time out to highlight the names here on the screen right now. These people have all chosen Dominion as their favorite game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 18. The People's Choice number 17 board game of all time is Great Western Trail. This is a Western-themed game, as the name so indicates, where players take on the role of ranchers who are trying to herd their cattle from Texas all the way to Kansas City, sending them via railroad. Players are partaking in a little bit of deck building. They are using buildings along the way in their travels. They're hiring cowboys to herd their their cows. They're hiring craftsmen who help them build their own buildings. This game recently had a second edition release, and there are some spin-offs that are coming in the near future. Currently, as of this recording, this game is ranked number 11. So again, very much within the proximity of the People's Choice rankings. I'd like to take this moment to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Great Western Trail as their favorite game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 17. The People's Choice number 16 board game of all time is Mansions of Madness. And this is yet another and the most popular of all of the Cthulhu Mythos Lovecraftian themed board games within Fantasy Flight's Arkham Horror file line of games. That's quite a mouthful. Yes, they have lots of these games, and these games are all popular, from Arkham Horror to Eldritch Horror to the Arkham Horror LCG and everything in between. And these games all made it to the top 100, but it's Mansions of Madness that reigns supreme. Now, this is a totally app-driven dungeon crawl style game where players explore the streets of Innsmouth and the halls of the cursed mansions of Arkham, collecting weapons and tools along the way, trying to solve complex puzzles, fighting off monsters and bad guys while avoiding insanity and, worse yet, death. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 34 on the BGG rankings. I'd like to take this time out to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Mansions of Madness as their absolute favorite board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 16. The People's Choice number 15 board game of all time is Root. And Root is basically, essentially, a war game with a fantasy theme. This is a 2 to 4 player game where each player takes on a different animal-like faction. And each of these factions are asymmetric with unique abilities particular to the faction. And moreover, each faction has a totally different objective and winning condition. Now, this makes the game highly replayable, as in future plays, players can choose to explore and experiment with new factions, see the different strategies and choices and options that are available to them in said factions, and again, mix and match until they find the faction that they prefer. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 27 on the BGG rankings. I'd like to take this time to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Root as their favorite board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 15. The People's Choice number 14 board game of all time is Pandemic Legacy. And I'm going to say Season 1 because although I did lump together all the votes that I got for Seasons 1, 2, and 0, by far and away, the game that got the most votes out of these three was Pandemic Legacy Season 1. And this is basically Pandemic, for those who know Pandemic, but with a legacy game attached to it. So from game to game, the board is going to evolve. The components are going to evolve. Sometimes things are going to be destroyed. Sometimes new rules are going to be added and old rules are going to be eliminated. Now, as far as the details of the game is concerned, I'm not going to give too much of a description because that would involve spoilers. I'm not even going to show any pictures, but instead I'll let you know that if you like Pandemic and you like the idea of a campaign style game, this meshes the two together and does it very well. Now, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, as of this recording, is ranked number 2 on BGG's rankings. I'd like to take this time out to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Pandemic Legacy Season 1, or Seasons 2 or 0, for that matter, as their favorite board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 14. The People's Choice number 13 board game of all time is Vidi Culture, designed by Jamie Stegmaier, and this is basically the game that put Jamie Stegmaier on the map. And boy, has he taken over that map. And in this game, players are basically growing and running their own vineyards, managing their workers who work on the vineyards, and ultimately making wine. This game is broken down into the 4 different seasons of the calendar year, and each season plays out differently. There are different actions that are available depending on the season. Now, many people made sure to make mention of the fact that they prefer this game with the Tuscany expansion. Now, for a lot of people who had the earlier editions of Vidi Culture, then they would have needed the Tuscany expansions to have lots of the modules that are found there. However, in the more recent editions of Vidi Culture, we have the Essential Vidi Culture editions, and these basically include lots of the more popular modules from the Tuscany expansion. Also, you can get the Tuscany's Essential expansion in order to add additional modules to your gameplay. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 23 on the BGG rankings. I'd like to take a moment to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Vidi Culture as their #1 board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 13. The People's Choice number 12 board game of all time is Seven Wonders, designed by Antoine Boza. And this is the quintessential pick and pass card drafting game with a civilization theme. So basically players are going through 3 rounds, which represent 3 different eras of antiquity, and they're building different buildings and managing their resources in order to do so. And these different buildings help their civilization grow in one of 7 different spheres of influence. We're talking about military and culture, and we're talking about commerce and science. You're erecting buildings that help you with the production of your different resources, your natural goods and your man-made goods. And while you're at it, you're also trying to work on your particular wonder, because each player has one wonder from antiquity that they are trying to construct that will give them victory points and grant them other abilities. But all of this is done through the simple pick and pass card draft mechanism, where players start with a hand of cards, and turn by turn they choose one card, place it down, and pass the rest of the hand clockwise or counterclockwise depending on the round, and then they rinse, wash, and repeat and do the same decision all over again. However, you cannot just pick any card in this game, because you need to be able to produce the resources that that card requires in order to be built. So either your civilization itself must produce said resource, or one of your 2 neighboring players and their civilizations must produce that resource, and then you pay them the money in order to use that resource. It scales very well from 3 to 7 players. Some people have had complaints about the 2-player variant, which is why a lot of people prefer Seven Wonders Duel, which, by the way, while it's ranked higher on BGG than Seven Wonders, on the People's Choice, Seven Wonders reigns supreme. This game, as of this recording, is ranked number 63 on BGG's rankings. I'd like to take this time to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Seven Wonders as their favorite game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 12. The People's Choice number 11 board game of all time is Pandemic. Yes, Pandemic actually beat out Pandemic Legacy as far as the People's Choice is concerned. Both of these games obviously had lots of votes. They're just 3 apart. Pandemic Legacy was number 14. Here, Pandemic is number 11. And Pandemic, I could talk about Pandemic freely since it's not a legacy game and there's no spoilers. Basically, it's a game where players take on the role of different specialists from the CDC, and they're all going around the globe trying to fight off different viruses that are spreading throughout the different regions of the globe. There's 4 different color-coded viruses, and basically you're trying to treat these viruses, hold back the spread, but in the meantime, you're also trying to find a cure to each of the viruses, which is done through a simple set collection of cards that match or correspond with the color of the virus you're trying to cure. Once players are able to cure all 4 viruses, and they must do so while they're in a research station on the map, once players are able to accomplish this, they have won the game. However, once the viruses spread too much, or there are too many outbreaks on the Earth, or time runs out because the deck is kind of like a ticking time bomb, once any of those 3 things take place, the players have collectively lost the game. This game currently, as of this recording, is ranked number 100 on BGG's rankings, so it just made it to the BGG top 100, but it's significantly higher here on the People's Choice. I'd like to take this time out to highlight the names on the screen right here. These people have all chosen Pandemic as their favorite board game of all time. As far as the People's Choice is concerned, it's number 11. And that's it for today's list, folks. We are done with numbers 20 through 11. That is it. We only have one video left to go. The top 10 board games of all time as far as you, the people, are concerned. Stay tuned because you definitely do not want to miss this. Thank you so much for joining us here today at When Harry Met Board Games. This is Harry saying take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have fun gaming. Bye-bye.